Right-wing book bans are becoming increasingly common, often led by people claiming to uphold the First Amendment, but who also say they're merely protecting children from dangerous reading materials. Not only are books their targets, but often the librarians who protect our right to read. Now, a Louisiana based middle school librarian who became the target of vicious death threats and harassment by a right wing campaign has decided to fight back. Not only has she sued her opponents, but written a tell all book about her battle against the book banners. Amanda Jones has been an educator for 22 years and is the president of the Louisiana Association of School Librarians. She has won numerous awards for her work and co founded the Livingston Parish Library Alliance to defeat censorship attempts in her community. She's also a founding member of the Louisiana Citizens Against Censorship, which fights against censorship efforts across the state. And she joins me now to discuss her new book called simply That Librarian. Welcome to the program, Amanda.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's first talk about the fact that this book came out of you in part because there was a lot of sort of violent rhetoric and threats that you faced for doing something very simple, which is your job, standing up for the right to read books, to ensure kids have the safety that they need to have access to all books, age appropriate books. But you faced so much vitriol and it was quite jarring. And I'm glad that you sort of opened the book with that to give America a sense of the stakes involved for people like yourself. So give me a little example for our listeners and our viewers as well about the kinds of threats that you received once you started standing up to basically an effort to ban books in your community in Louisiana.
Yes, so I'm a school librarian, but I actually am under fire, if you want to call it that, for speaking up for my public library as a resident. And I just happen to be a school librarian, but I didn't identify myself when I went and spoke as where I worked. I just said I'm a resident, and I was concerned. And once I gave that speech, 4 days later, I woke up. They had taken my picture and made awful memes about me, saying I do inappropriate things with students and inappropriate things with 6-year-olds and 11-year-olds, things that had nothing to do with anything I said or anything I've ever done ever. But yeah, people a little bit, it's all over social media. Every platform, me, my friends, my family have been harassed. But not just that, in public. I have people take my pictures. People are ugly, say mean things to me. I've been called a pedophile, a groomer, a sicko, a pig. I need to be fired. I need to be shot. Um, Death threats saying just how they were going to come and get me. And it's been very, very scary, very, very scary. I suffered, hair loss, weight loss, panic attacks. It's really been a nightmare.
And all of this because you did exactly what?
I just went and gave a speech at the public library and said, we already have book challenge processes in place. We have policies and procedures. If you don't like a book, fill out this form, and the library can look at the book. But nobody wants to do that. They just want to get online and scream about pornography in children's sections, and there is no pornography in children's sections. It's just this big lie that's being spread all over social media. And anyone who speaks out about it, like me, we get targeted and harassed. And we're seeing this all over the country.
Tell me about the group in Louisiana that you've contended with that might be an example of the kinds of groups that sort of masquerade as grassroots, citizens, concerned citizens groups who are leading the charge around challenging the presence of books and making absolutely wild claims about the kinds of things that kids have access to. Who are the folks that you have encountered, and who's behind them?
Well, the group that we're seeing in Louisiana is called Citizens for a New Louisiana. And if you look at any of their social media, you'll see it's nothing but hate, just hate all the time. Um, they push hate, and they push falsehoods and lies. And because they are a nonprofit, we're not able to look and see who their donors are. But I have noticed that when they make certain claims, there are more donations to certain people that in certain areas, and those representatives and senators and elected officials, when they do enter communities, because these people are not from my community. They don't live here. They don't work here, but they came to my community to stir up controversy. And you'll see it was like right before elections, and it's just to stir up a fake drama so that politicians can come in and say, oh, use that as a fake problem and come up with solutions to problems that don't exist and pander for votes.
So essentially, from reading your book, and from seeing in the news, what I'm gathering is that some of these organizations and the people involved might scour an entire library system, find a book that has some sexual content in one section of the library, and claim that it's being sort of literally handed out and to like 5-year-olds, and making very false claims, conflating access to age appropriate information about either sexual reproduction or reproductive health with something that is much more nefarious. Is that relatively accurate?
Oh, that's very accurate. In the state of Louisiana, you can get married at the age of 16, but they don't want to see sexual reproduction or sexual health books in the teen nonfiction section. And they will say it's in the children's section next to green eggs and ham, but it's not. We have a completely different children's section. You'll find books on reproduction in the teen nonfiction section, and the young adult section. And these are not books, these are age appropriate books written for children. I mean, written for teens about their bodies. And it's books save lives. We have such a high rate of sexual abuse in Louisiana, foster care rate. They don't want to address that. They just
Which
want
is
to.
interesting because, of course, all of this is supposedly being done in an effort to protect children from people like you.